We know that, look, the Chancellor's got a difficult job. There's a lot of money going out, and at some point a lot of money is going to have to go in again. But the question is who it comes from and when it comes in. What do you want to hear from the Chancellor?
Well, I certainly don't want to hear any messages of austerity. There is no reason under this current economic climate for austerity. What we need is investment in the economy, create jobs, create wealth, and therefore grow tax revenue out of growth rather than out of austerity. We can afford to do this now, whereas never before, because of the low interest rates, low inflation, and every country being in the same boat. So the argument against investing in the economy is a very, very weak one. And the argument that people put forward, of course, is inflation and rising an interest rate. In my opinion, that's extremely unlikely to happen. But I do differentiate. I don't say we should push spending. I say we should push investment. In other words, we don't put money into people's pockets to go out and spend and create inflation. What we do is invest in businesses to create jobs, create real jobs, and create a future for Britain.
And when you talk about investing in businesses, I mean, a lot of business people say, I don't want government help. I want the government to keep out of my business. So I want to be allowed to open. I want to be allowed to sell my goods. I want to be able to get on with it without the government getting involved.
Well, what I'm suggesting doesn't get the government involved at all unless somebody wants them to be. So, for instance, if the government is struggling to find a way of investing to create jobs and create businesses, there's so many different ways they could do it. They could attract inward investment by investing in those businesses, maybe even becoming a shareholder with a very, very low interest coupon to sort of incentivize people to come to the UK. They could do enterprise zones. There's so many ways of gaining foreign investment into the UK, which would grow jobs. But there's also plenty of ways of investing in future technology in the UK itself with UK companies to help those companies grow and create many, many more jobs for the future. And if we look at my idea on the Caudwell Pandemic Recovery for a energy city, and it's not just energy, it's energy, environment, anything to do with the environment. If we made a special enterprise zone of that city and really motivated companies to set up there from all over the world, we could have one of the leading environmental / renewable energy industries in the world, and that would create huge amounts of jobs and huge amounts of exportable industry and technology for the future.
I mean, there are so many opportunities that could be found. I mean, I think, post-Brexit as well, there's actually, there are opportunities. There are people who lose out in any change, but there are also opportunities for growth, for new business, new jobs. And it may be particularly a lot of those, 4.7 million people on furlough that actually, those not all those jobs still exist, and there will have to be new opportunities for them. What do you make, though, speaking on behalf of the 3 million excluded UK group? We've spoken to them a number of times on the show. They keep pointing out to us, look, we aren't talking about highly paid people who've just got money in the bank and a nice big, mortgage-free home who can afford this. We're talking about people who've really struggled, who've gone out on their own, who haven't got a penny. We're now talking about the government planning to raise national insurance contributions for the self-employed on the basis that, well, the self-employed have had loads of help from the government, same as the employed. I can't imagine that's going to go down very well.
Well, it's a nonsense. But just before coming on to that, let me just say, in agreement with your point, that there's massive opportunities out there for a smart government to invest, to create huge wealth for Britain now that Brexit's been finished. And we really need to do that. Now, coming back to the point on Excluded, I'm afraid, that there are a lot of people out there, and I don't know the numbers, but they say 3.8 million. It won't be all of those that are really suffering, but there is a lot of neglect and a lot of people that have fallen between the cracks and who are in absolute desperate plights. And it is the government's responsibility to deal fairly with everybody, and everybody share the pain and everybody share the success. And I'm afraid that's not really happened. What we've got is people on furlough who have been reasonably well looked after, and as long as their jobs are still there when they go back, they're going to be okay. Yeah. But all of those people that have been excluded have been absolutely clinging on by the fingertips, and some of them haven't. Some of them have committed suicide. Some of them have lost their homes, lost their families. It's devastating, and Rishi really needs to address this. And the fact that it's a complex set of people, because there must be hundreds of different situations within this group of excluded, but the fact that it's complex doesn't allow the government to neglect this group of people. And Rishi really needs to address this.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many people who've lost out there. John Caudwell, really appreciate you joining us, business leader, philanthropist and founder of Phones for You. Thank you.